Hello everyone. Today I'll be walking you through the process of establishing an SSH connection from your Visual Studio Code to your Amazon EC2 instance. Once you have your Visual Studio Code installed, go over to Extensions, search for SSH. Remote-SSH is a recommended extension for this. So you click on it. Mine is already installed, but if it's not, you will see install locally here. Go ahead and install. Once that is installed, the next process would be to configure your SSH file or set up your SSH configuration file. Down to your left bottom corner of your screen, there are two. You see this green icon. You can click on this to open the window, or alternatively, you can, from your Windows machine, you can click on Ctrl-Shift-P and it does the same thing. Then you can search for SSH and you open your SSH configuration file. If that has not been set up yet, your default setting should be slightly different, but I would recommend you mirror the settings shown on the screen. And it's just 4 components, which is the host, usually AWS server, the host name, the EC2 user, and the identity file. The host name changes because that is basically your public IP address, and the location for your file should change as well. For this demo, I'll be using Amazon Linux 2. I'll click on Launch. T2 Micro, it's good because it's still free tier eligible. Configuration details, I will leave everything as it is. Storage, I'll leave as it is. Tags is highly recommended, but I won't be using any tags for this demo because I will terminate this instance right after. Security group, all we need is basically an SSH connection, so I will leave as default. So everything looks good. I'll go ahead and launch. So I would be creating a new key pair just so that we can walk through the process together. So demo, I would call it demo 1 and download this key pair. Once that is done, we'll click on launch instance. While that is loading, it will take it about a minute to create. I would go over and set up my key. So this location, I'm going to change this to the new key that was just created. So we can see it here. So the recommended approach would be to copy your location. So you see here, copy address. Address has been copied. We'll come back here to the identity file and change the location. So we change basically everything. Paste the new locations there, but the actual file isn't copied, so we need to put that in manually. And it's demo 1. We can just check to make sure properties it's demo 1 and .pem. So that's what we'll configure. There's a missing piece. Alright, so that looks good. The next thing we need to modify would be the host name. So all of those info can be found. The host name is usually the public IP address, but what I recommend, because there are a few suggestions you also get from AWS, so you click on that and click on connect. On the SSH client, the same IP address shows up here, and it tells you the user, EC2 user. So if this were to be Ubuntu, it's usually Ubuntu, and it just varies with the various Linux distributions. So I would go back again and just copy the public IPv4 address, and that is what I would paste here to replace whatever was there before. Once that is done, we can go ahead and save the file. It's saved. Establishing a connection now, we need to open up that window. Ctrl-Shift-E for Windows, or the green icon here, and SSH again, but this time it's going to be SSH connect to host. So this is where we're going. AWS server. It will take about a minute, less than usually. It's asking us if we're sure we want to continue. We'll click on continue. And yes, we have our connection. We can check sudo yum update. Yeah, so our image is up to date, but this is just the general way. Sometimes it doesn't go as smooth, depending on dependencies, the version of VS Code, and all of that, your machine. If you happen to have any issues and you're not able to connect, feel free to leave a comment below, and we can try to troubleshoot that. If you like my content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks, and see you next time.